In this podcast episode, Mark Manson explores the nuanced interplay between happiness, identity, and success, offering a candid and grounded perspective on personal growth and the self-help industry. The discussion traverses a wide range of topics, from the paradox of self-acceptance and action to the evolving nature of values and the pitfalls of modern self-improvement culture. Manson begins by addressing a fundamental tension often encountered in spiritual and personal development circles: the paradox between universal acceptance of what is and the drive to improve or get things done. While spiritual teachings emphasize embracing the present moment and accepting reality, this can seem at odds with the human impulse to strive, build, and change. Manson acknowledges this tension, suggesting that the key lies in discerning what is within one's control to change and what must be accepted. He recalls a Zen master's teaching that you are already perfect as you are, and you can always be better, encapsulating the delicate balance between self-acceptance and growth. This balance is not static, but a dynamic seesaw, where periods of striving alternate with seasons of acceptance. A central theme Manson emphasizes is that who you are is defined by what you're willing to struggle for. Struggle is an inescapable part of life, but individuals have the freedom to choose their struggles. Whether it's pursuing success, maintaining relationships, or living frugally, each person's chosen challenges reveal their core values and identity. This perspective reframes struggle not as a burden, but as a meaningful expression of what matters most to us. It also highlights the importance of aligning one's efforts with authentic values rather than external expectations or social pressures. Manson delves into the distinction between universal human needs and the diverse strategies people use to fulfill them. Needs such as belonging, autonomy, and certainty are shared across humanity, but how individuals meet these needs varies widely. For example, one person might find belonging in a church community, while another might create their own church. These strategies reflect personal values, which are essentially prioritized ways of meeting needs. Manson stresses that values are best understood by observing one's actions, rather than relying on abstract ideals or socially influenced beliefs. He warns against adopting values based on external approval or narratives, illustrating this with the example of young professionals who pursue careers like law or medicine, not out of genuine passion, but due to parental expectations or peer pressure. As people mature, their values naturally evolve. Manson reflects on his own journey from youthful exploration and broad curiosity to a more selective and peaceful focus on what truly matters to him. This evolution often involves painful identity shifts, especially when life events force a reevaluation of priorities. Such transformations can be disorienting and emotionally charged, as they require letting go of past versions of oneself and navigating changes in relationships and social roles. The conversation also tackles the concept of freedom, challenging the common Western notion that freedom means unlimited choice or optionality. Drawing on philosophical ideas, Manson distinguishes between negative freedom, freedom from constraints, and positive freedom, the ability to act in accordance with one's true self and goals. He argues that true freedom often arises from commitment and discipline, the freedom to choose what to give up and what to focus on. This form of freedom fosters agency and self-definition, contrasting with the lethargy and indecision that can result from endless options and lack of boundaries. Manson offers a critical yet compassionate critique of the self-help industry. He identifies two main issues: the persistence of bad advice despite abundant scientific knowledge, and the misleading marketing that creates unrealistic expectations. While acknowledging that different people need different messages and that even flawed advice can sometimes help, he expresses concern about the moral responsibility of self-help providers, especially given that many consumers are vulnerable individuals facing mental health challenges or trauma. He highlights the problematic incentives in the industry, where financial gain often encourages exaggerated promises of quick transformation. This dynamic can lead to a lack of honest feedback and accountability, with some coaches blaming clients for lack of progress rather than examining their own methods. Manson stresses the importance of humility and ethical care in this space, advocating for more kid gloves treatment of delicate psychological issues. A significant insight Manson shares is the tendency for self-help to become a form of entertainment or avoidance rather than genuine growth. With the explosion of accessible content, podcasts, books, social media, people can endlessly consume advice without integrating it into their lives. This self-help as a hobby phenomenon can foster self-obsession and spiritual narcissism, where the pursuit of improvement becomes a way to avoid real action or discomfort. Manson's antidote to this is deceptively simple: stop trying so hard. He recommends taking breaks from constant self-optimization, allowing space for rest and acceptance. This approach aligns with the backwards law, a concept from Alan Watts that Manson often references, which states that the desire for positive experiences can itself be a source of suffering, while acceptance of negative experiences can lead to genuine happiness. By stepping off the treadmill of relentless improvement, individuals can paradoxically find more freedom and growth. Throughout the discussion, Manson emphasizes that change is fundamentally an emotional process. Intellectual understanding alone is insufficient. People change when the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of action. He points out that procrastination and resistance are deeply rooted in emotional inertia, and that motivation often requires manipulating incentives or creating accountability structures. Interestingly, research shows that simple external motivators like financial rewards can be surprisingly effective in prompting behavior change. Manson also highlights meditation as a tool that helps create a mental gap between the self and uncomfortable emotions, reducing resistance and making it easier to act despite discomfort. However, he candidly admits his own struggles with maintaining a meditation practice, underscoring that even those who understand these tools intellectually can find them challenging to sustain. Manson shares his personal experience with evolving his creative work, particularly his podcast. He describes the difficult decision to abandon a successful format in favor of a new, more focused and ultra-nerdy approach that might alienate some listeners but better aligns with his authentic interests. This leap of faith, though scary, ultimately attracts a more genuine and engaged audience. He believes that authenticity and transparency in both personal and professional life foster deeper connections and respect, even if it means being disliked by some. He also reflects on the importance of embracing the messy, imperfect reality of life rather than chasing idealized versions of success or happiness. The sacrifices and struggles behind achievements are rarely visible, yet they are integral to meaningful growth. Recognizing this helps dissolve envy and unrealistic expectations.